There are two sources of warmth. One is the Son of Heaven, which is the Lord, and the other is our world's sun. The warmth that comes from heaven's sun or the Lord is spiritual warmth, which in its essence is love. The warmth that comes from our world's sun, though, is a natural warmth that in its essence is not love, but serves spiritual warmth or love as a vessel. We may gather that love in essence is warmth from the fact that our minds and then our bodies become warmer because of love and according to its intensity and quality. This happens to us just as much in winter as in summer. We may also notice the warming of our blood. As for the fact that natural heat arising from the world's sun serves spiritual heat as a vessel, this we may gather from the warmth of the body that is stimulated by the warmth of its spirit and abets it. We may look particularly at what the warmth of spring and summer does for all kinds of animals with their annual love cycles. It is not that the natural warmth makes this happen, but that it disposes their bodies to be receptive to the warmth that flows into them as well from the spiritual world. You see, the spiritual world flows into the natural the way a cause flows into its effect. People who believe that natural warmth creates these loves are quite mistaken, since the inflow is of the spiritual world into the natural world and not of the natural world into the spiritual. And all love is spiritual because it is the essence of life itself. I'm going to say that again. All love is spiritual because it is the essence of life itself. Further, people who believe that anything happens in the natural world apart from the inflow of the spiritual world are also mistaken, since natural phenomena arise and persist only from spiritual ones. Even the members of the plant kingdom get their power to sprout from this kind of inflow. The natural warmth of spring and summer simply disposes their seeds into their natural forms by swelling and opening them so that the inflow from the spiritual world can have its causative effect. I mention all this to make it clear that there are two kinds of warmth, spiritual and natural, and that spiritual warmth comes from heaven's sun and natural warmth from the world's sun, and that inflow and cooperation set up the effects that we see before us in the world. For us human beings, spiritual warmth is the warmth of life, because as already noted, it is essentially love. This love is what fire means in the word. Heavenly fire means love for the Lord and love for our neighbor, and hellish fire means love for ourselves and love of the world. Hellish fire or love has the same source as heavenly fire or love, namely heaven's sun or the Lord. However, it is changed into hellfire by the people who receive it. For all inflow from the spiritual world for all inflow from the spiritual world varies depending on how it is received, or depending on the forms into which it flows. The same thing happens with the warmth and light from the world's sun. Warmth flowing from this source into woods and flower beds produces vegetation and pleasant, soft aromas. The same warmth flowing into manure or carrion produces decay and foul stenches. Similarly, light from the same sun on one object produces lovely, charming colors, while on another it produces ugly and unpleasant ones. It is the same with the warmth and light from heaven's sun, which is love. When that warmth or love flows into good recipients like good people and spirits or angels, it makes their goodness fertile. Whereas when it flows into evil people, it has the opposite effect. Their evils either stifle it or distort it. Similarly, when heaven's light flows into the true perceptions of goodwill, it yields intelligence and wisdom. But when it flows into malicious distortions, it changes there into insanity and various kinds of illusion. Everything depends on reception. Everything depends on reception.